Before we begin, take a moment, wherever you are, whether you're alone, with a friend, in a small group, or at a live event. This is a moment of encounter. If you haven't already, set up a seat for Jesus. He's truly with you. This isn't a symbol. He desires to sit with you, to speak with you, to enter into this moment with you. Also, you will want to get the Encounter Jesus guide. Now, if you're at this point, hopefully you've registered as a member and you've gone over to the member porthole and enrolled in the Encounter Jesus, the Rescue online course where all these videos are. And in the very first lesson, you can download the guide. If you need to do that, go ahead because it will make a big difference. And one more thing. Be sure you have a notepad or a journal and something to write with. You'll need it and you'll want it. And now as we begin, I ask you to do one thing. Listen. Not with your ears, but with your heart. Let him speak to you as if you were the only person in the room. Name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Jesus, we ask you to speak to each of us, one-on-one, as if we are the only person in the room. My beloved, I see you. I know you. You were made for something far greater than this world. A grand adventure, not one of empty thrills and fleeting pleasures, but of purpose and love and eternity. Do you remember? We began this journey by speaking of the life you were created for, a life where you walk in deep communion with me, where you live unshackled, fully alive, reigning in love alongside our Father. You were made for this, but something stood in your way. A world filled with distractions, an enemy who deceives, and chains that keep you from stepping forward. But now here we are. We have walked together through 3 encounters, and today I ask you to choose. Will you stay in the world that is fading away, or will you take my hand and step into the adventure you were made for? Before we go forward, let's look back. We have walked together through 3 encounters, each one revealing something deeper about your life, your purpose, and the battle for your soul. These moments were not just lessons. They were encounters with truth and glimpses of reality beyond what the world shows you. And now you stand at a crossroads. Let us revisit what we've been through and the choice before you. You were created not for mediocrity, not for comfort, but for greatness, an existence beyond the limits of this world. When the Father, the Spirit, and I formed the heavens, we did not create you as an afterthought. From the beginning, I desired you. You were made in our image, created to share in our love and reign alongside us for all eternity, unlike any other being we had ever made. We crafted an entire universe so that you might encounter us, so that you could walk with us, reign alongside us, and be part of the great and eternal adventure of love and glory. Do you remember when I sat with you in the Jesus seat? I was here all along, whispering to you, calling you back to what you were made for. But the world convinced you to settle for less, to trade this divine inheritance for a few passing shadows. I showed you the truth of sin. It's not just mistakes. It's a power that corrupts, that drags you into slavery. It's a disease. Do you remember the cups of water When the water was clear and pure, it could be poured freely between us, just as it was before sin. I could pour myself into you and you into me, and then sin came. Sin entered the world through your first parents, and you've all sinned. And what was once pure became tainted. One drop of filth in pure water pollutes the whole, separating it from what it was meant to be. And that's what sin does to your soul. It does not just stain, it cuts you off from the life you were created for, making union with me impossible. That is the truth. Sin is not just an error. It is a force that enslaves, a sickness that festers, and a weight that binds you to the world that is passing away. And then, remember the human trafficking story? Imagine a young girl taken from her home, bound in chains, forced into a life she never chose. She cries out, but no one comes, and she's sure no one ever will. She is used, exploited, left with no hope, no way of escape. She is powerless. Her captors tell her she is worthless, that this is all she will ever be. And after hearing it long enough, she believes it. That is what sin does. That is what Satan does. And that was you. Maybe it still is you. Trapped, bound, and unable to free yourself, you have been lied to, told you're not worth saving, told you're too far gone. But I see you, and I've come to break those chains. Some people, they stand before me at the end and they hear the words from Father Ricardo's Judgment Day vision. Depart from me. I never knew you. They thought they were free. Their lives were lived on in their own terms, doing as they pleased, making their own way. But they were prisoners, bound in chains, forged by Satan himself. They didn't recognize it. Or maybe they did. Did they see the chains and simply chose them? And then in that moment, the moment they realized what has been lost, what could have been, laughter echoes through the darkness. A deep, mocking laughter that fills the void. The laughter of those, the one who has deceived them, who blinded them, who convinced them to trade eternity for the fleeting pleasures of the world that was always passing away. And my heart breaks, my beloved. I never wanted this for you or anyone. I call to you. I reach for you. I stand before you with my hand extended, pleading for you to take it. But love does not force. And so, if you do not take my hand with sorrow so far beyond words, I say, depart from me. But you also saw the moment when my Father asked, who will go for them? And I stepped forward. In the Spirit, he mourned at the price and rejoiced that you would be rescued. You saw me storm the beaches like D-Day, coming to reclaim what is mine. You saw me enter the battlefield, not as a philosopher or as a teacher, but as a warrior king, an ambush predator, disguised in humanity, come to destroy the kingdom of darkness. You watched as I took the weight of your sin upon myself. You saw me stripped, my back laid open by whips that tore the flesh from my bones. You heard the hammer strike as the nails were driven through my hands and fastened me to the cross. My blood poured out, soaking the ground beneath me. My body trembled under the weight and the agony, and yet I did not resist. This was my choice. This was the price I willingly paid for you. And yet, even in that moment of suffering, I was not the hunted. I was the hunter. I was not the victim. I was the victor. Satan thought he had won, but it was at that very moment, as I breathed my last, that death and sin were vanquished. The enemy's fortress crumbled. The prison doors were shattered, and the chains that bound you fell away. The victory was mine. And now I hold my hand out to you, and you must choose. I will not force you out. Will you take my hand? Let me draw another picture for you and introduce you to some people. Picture this. In Istanbul, there is the Grand Bazaar. It is the largest bazaar in the world. It covers 61 streets, has 4,000 to 5,000 shops, and it's visited by between 250 and 400,000 people every day. It is the world's marketplace, and it is like the world you are in. The streets are alive, full of color, overflowing with goods and pleasures, distractions and comforts. Shopkeepers call out to you, promising happiness, success, security. Trinkets, gold coins clink, and the smell of delicious food fills the air, and laughter rings through the streets. But behind the silk curtains, the ones selling you these treasures do not work for me. The world is run by the devil, the deceiver, the one who keeps you moving from stall to stall, hoping that the next purchase, the next thrill, the next achievement will satisfy you. But tell me, has it? This world you live in, this is Satan's kingdom, Satan's bazaar. It's not freedom. It's a dungeon disguised as a palace. Now let me tell you about some people I know. There is a woman I know, a mother, a fighter, who is walking in freedom today. But there was a time when she was drowning in addiction. She had no driver's license, no steady job, no way to provide for her children. The world had already given up on her, whispering to her heart that she was too broken, too lost, and too far gone. But I never gave up on her. And neither did some of my friends. These were men who once struggled with their own battles in Alcoholics Anonymous. Men who had reached for me in their darkest moments and found the strength to stand. And because they knew what it meant to be rescued, they saw her, not as the world saw her, but as I see her. Every morning, these men, my friends, got up and drove her to work. Every evening, they picked her up. They took her to get groceries. They watched over her children. They stood by her side when the weight of her past tried to pull her under again. And day after day and year after year, they poured out their time, their love, and their lives. Some of these men, they still walk in the bazaar with you, and I walk with them every day. I see their quiet sacrifices, their kindness, their perseverance. They are still pouring out love for others. And some of these men, they've come home to me, and I rejoice with them here. They are more alive now than when they were on the earth, and their love still echoes for eternity. And the woman, she is still here in the bazaar, still fighting, still sober. She has her license now. She has her dignity. She has her children. And she has her mission to save others who were in the chains that once held her. That is what success looks like in my kingdom. Not wealth, not power, not the applause of the world, but love that saves. And I ask you, what kind of success are you chasing? There's another woman I know, a daughter of my father, who took my hand when I extended it to her. A soul full of light, she walked a long road with early onset Alzheimer's. It's a road the world calls suffering. Some would say that she lost everything, her health, her memory, her independence. But I see her, and I know her, and she has lost nothing that truly matters. The world looked at her and it saw confusion and frailty and loss, but I see her peace, the kind of peace that does not come from wealth or power, but from trusting me. Even when her memory slipped away, even when she no longer recognized the faces of those she loved, she still loved them. Even when she no longer understood where she was, she still brought joy to those around her. I watched her help the staff at the nursing home with simple, kind tasks, bringing warmth where there was weariness. I saw her take hands of strangers and dance with them, laughing with a joy that this world could not steal from her. She radiated life and love even as the world around her faded. And now she is here with me, more alive than she ever was before. And she remembers everything now. She sees clearly, she dances still. But now she dances in the halls of my Father's house, where sorrow and confusion can never touch her again. This is the peace I offer you. Not the fragile, fleeting peace of this world, but a peace that stands firm through every storm. A peace that not even death can take away. And I ask you, is this the peace you want? I will not lie to you. This path of following me, it is not easy. It is not comfortable. It is not the wide road. But I tell you, or I ask you, what has comfort ever truly given you? I do not promise comfort. I promise victory. I do not promise ease. I promise meaning. If you take my hand today, you are not escaping from this world. You are stepping into the battle. This world's still under the dominion of darkness, but you will no longer be a prisoner in it. You will be a warrior, a light in the darkness, a rescuer, a threat to Satan himself. Until the day comes when I return and establish my kingdom in full, you will walk through this world, but you will not belong to it. You will no longer be held captive in the grand bazaar, but neither will you leave it entirely. You will walk through that bazaar as my ambassador, my soldier, my witness. You will bring others home. You will fight for the freedom of the lost. You will suffer for my name, and it will be worth it. This world will pass away. Its kingdom will fall, but my kingdom will never end. And I stand before you, my hand extended. Will you take it? I'm not asking you to retreat. I'm asking you to advance. I'm not calling you away from the battlefield. I am calling you into it. You cannot remain neutral. You cannot serve two masters. You must decide Will you cling to the illusion of comfort, or will you step into the mission you were created for? Will you trade your soul for the treasures of the bazaar, or will you join me in setting captives free? If you're ready, then say these words, not as a ritual, but as a declaration of war. Jesus, I see now that the world cannot fill me. I have chased after things that do not last, and I am tired. I choose you. I choose to follow you, even when it's hard. Take my life, my dreams, my plans. I give them to you, Jesus. Lead me. I am yours. I will fight alongside you. I will carry your light. And where you go, I will take up my cross and follow you until you take me home. Amen. If you have chosen me today, know this: you are mine, and I will never leave you. But this is only the beginning. The bazaar is still full of captives. The battlefield is still covered in chains. And now I am sending you not back into it as a prisoner, but as a rescuer. In the next encounter, you will learn to walk this path together, how to fight for the souls without losing yourself, how to leave the comforts of the world behind without running from it. The mission is clear. The time is now. Come and follow me. Now take a moment before you do anything else, before you move on, before you distract yourself, before you lose what we've just shared. Now, my other self, write to me. Write a letter. Don't hold back. Don't wait. Be honest. Tell me where we stand right now, how you see our relationship. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you fear. Tell me what you feel. Because I'm here. I'm listening. And I will answer. Friends, if you've made the decision to follow Jesus tonight, I want to tell you something important. Don't wait to learn what it means to be his disciple. Saying yes to Jesus is just the beginning. Jesus called us to take up our cross daily and follow him, not just once, but every day, and learn what that means. That's exactly what the next series, the next online lesson, the next online course is all about. Walking with Jesus daily, discovering how to take up your cross and live as his disciple, live as his warrior. If you're watching this online or your group wants to take a week or two off, that's okay, but don't let too much pass. You know, many people, they make the decision to follow Jesus, but they never take the time to learn how to walk with him. And sadly, they fall away. Satan traps them back. Don't let that happen to you. You can find the next series online. It's in a course. It's called Encounter Jesus, Walking as a Disciple. It's number 2. And you need to go to the members portal and become a member and then enroll in the course, and it'll walk you through things step by step. And you can do it as a group, and you can do it with a mentor, and you can do it by yourself. But it's vitally important that you not delay. Jesus is ready to walk with you, and you don't want to lose the momentum of what he's doing in your life right now. Take the next step. Follow him into the life you were created for. It's a life of purpose, love, and joy that you won't want to miss. So this video is now over. After writing your letter, refer to your Encounter Jesus Guide, Rescued. If you're with a group, you can take a few minutes and talk about what struck you most about this encounter, but write your letter to Jesus. Once everyone has finished the writing, use the questions to begin your discussion. If you're alone, take time to reflect on them and write your answers in your journal. Now write the letter. Take your time. Don't rush. This is your moment with Jesus. The letter doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be long, and it doesn't need to be short. It just needs to be honest, and you need to do it now. Thank you for being here. We'll see you in Encounter Jesus 2, Walking as a Disciple. Don't miss it.